Hello again. It is Wednesday, May 29th, and currently the jury for the Trump New York hush money trial is deliberating. They had closing arguments yesterday. It was a circus. Robert De Niro came and said hello to the crowd, and I think someone forgot to tell Robert De Niro that if there's one thing Trump supporters don't like, it's a pompous, out-of-touch elite actor lecturing them on who to vote for. So it turned into a big heckle session with Robert De Niro going back and forth with a bunch of Trump voters. So maybe we'll do a video on that later. But this one, I wanted to focus on one of the most fascinating news segments I've ever seen. And it's fascinating because this is from MSNBC, and they are realizing in real time what it's actually like to talk to normal people. So this happened, this wasn't this week, this was actually during Trump's South Bronx rally that he had the other week. Now what happened in a lot of this hush money trial is this ended up being a happy accident for Trump. During a lot of this trial, they made him stay in New York, so he couldn't really leave and campaign as much as he would have if he didn't have this. So what he would do is he would do these impromptu visits all around New York City. He went to a bodega, he went to a fire station and brought pizza, and he held a rally in South Bronx. I don't think any of them remember the last time they have ever had a presidential rally in the South Bronx, especially with a Republican nominee. And we also know that the South Bronx, they have a high minority population, and that's what the mainstream media loves to do with Donald Trump. They love to make us think that he's the white supreme sandwiches, that he hates minorities and things like that. But those that follow him, those that have actually been to a rally or even right outside of one, we know the truth. We know that his supporters are a huge group of diverse people from all socioeconomic backgrounds, all genders, all races, all cultures, all ages. It's just a huge diverse mix of people. And what MSNBC did in this segment is they decided to go to this rally and interview some of the people. So let's go through this segment together. This will be fun. Here's the first part.
Taking his MAGA message to a blue stronghold, a majority-minority district right here in New York City, and demonizing immigrants as he aims to appeal to Black and Hispanic voters.
They're coming from so many places we don't have any idea. In many cases, we don't even know what the language. You know, you have languages that people don't even know about. And we're not talking about just South America countries. We're talking about countries from Africa. I think they're building an army. They had 29,000 people over the last. I think they're building. They want to get us from within. They cannot stay. We will immediately begin the largest criminal deportation operation in our country's history.
And there you have it in the very beginning. That tells you everything you need to know. They go back into framing Trump exactly how the mainstream media typically frames him. This is why people have all of these caricatures in their head of who he is and who his supporters are. So let's watch now when they actually go and talk to some of the people that are at the rally.
Joining us now, NBC News correspondent Dasha Burns, who was there at this event, chief strategist for the Bush-Cheney 2004 presidential campaign, Matthew Dowd, and former Obama campaign advisor, Amisha Cross. So Dasha, you were there last night. You heard it. You talked to the people who were in that crowd. How was his message received?
Well, this might sound a little counterintuitive, but I did talk to folks in that crowd who themselves were immigrants. A lot of folks from the Dominican Republic. A lot of people that I talked to were born and raised in the Bronx. For some of them, this was their first ever Trump event. And when you talk to immigrants that are going to these Trump rallies, they agree with his message on immigration. Their point is, look, I did it the right way. I came here legally, and especially those living in New York right now, the sentiment I heard from a lot of voters was, you know, we have these immigrants right now that the city is taking care of in a way that I've never felt taken care of by this city.
Is the thing that most people don't understand is that it's probably legal immigrants more than anyone who is going to be opposed to illegal immigration. They went through that huge, long process. A lot of them, when they finally got their citizenship, it was one of the proudest moments of their lives because they had to work so hard to do it. They did it the right way. You have people, they go through years of this, and now they're watching people just jump over the border and get all of these things. And for a lot of minorities, for a lot of lower income people, and I've seen this a lot in a lot of these different areas, it's not even necessarily that people want all of these handouts. A lot of these people really don't. They're not jealous per se of the handouts that illegal immigrants are getting, but what they are thinking in their mind, especially if you are someone that has struggled, you're like, wait a second, so you're telling me you could have been providing this for me the whole time? So you're telling me you could have been doing this for our homeless population or our veterans or our communities? You could have been doing this for us the entire time and you just chose not to. And now all of these people are coming over uninvited and you're just handing them all of these freebies and we're paying for it. I mean, it's a slap in the face, and I would imagine it's an even bigger slap in the face if you did do the work to immigrate here the right way. And that's a huge mistake that a lot of these outlets make. They don't differentiate legal versus illegal immigration. I personally, maybe you know one, I don't know of anybody that is opposed to open borders that is against legal immigration. They just want people to do it the right way. You need to be vetted. We need to make sure that everyone coming in isn't going to be dependent on the welfare state, because that just logistically ain't gonna work. You can't have open borders in a welfare state.
It was a large crowd and a diverse crowd. Yes, there were some people from Westchester, from New Jersey, but there were a lot of people there that were from the Bronx, Black and Latino voters that are sick of how much they're paying for gas and groceries, that are frustrated with the situation at the border, and that find President Biden's rhetoric when it comes to minority voters a little bit offensive. Take a listen.
Legal troubles. Does any of that worry you at all?
No, at all. I think he's going to be elected the president because everyone still wants him as the president. So to me, it doesn't matter.
Biden, they have disrespected the people of the city of New York. This was the best city in the world. We're not the great apple anymore. We're not the big apple. We are the rotten apple.
Biden went on the Charlemagne the God show and said, you ain't black if you don't vote for him. I'm black because that's how I was born and what I am. And Trump is the man that can save this country. Period.
So interesting to talk to those voters, Anna, and multiple people actually mentioned that Charlemagne the God interview. I did press back with some of those folks, mentioning some of Trump's rhetoric that's been seen as racist and bigoted. They said they don't have a problem with that. They view his actions over his words in terms of what they feel he can do for their community. Again, the economy, those pocketbook issues, over and over again, top of the list.
It's important to hear from those voters. Donald Trump.
And you see, she was shocked several times that several people brought up that Charlemagne the God interview where Joe Biden said, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. And the reason they bring that up is because Democrats especially, there's certain demographics of group, and they're not doing it as much anymore, but they kind of did it with young women like me with the abortion rights and all that stuff. They just assume that they're going to have my vote locked in. They can just, call Donald Trump whatever kind of names or whatever kind of sexist they want to, and then I'm going to just believe them and they just have my vote. They don't think that I can think for myself. They do the same with the minority vote. That's why Joe Biden felt so comfortable saying that. They think they just have that demographic locked in, and every single election cycle they make promises and never come through on any of them. And now, going back to the open borders, you have areas like the south side of Chicago. You literally have black residents in the south side of Chicago. I'm not talking young activists that don't know what they're talking about. I'm talking about long-time black residents that know their communities. They know the laws. They've been in these communities. They know their officials. They're educated. They feel like they are being replaced. They actually feel like they are being replaced. And they especially feel shunned by the Democratic Party because they voted for Brandon Johnson. They've always voted Democrat, and they've watched time and time again nothing get changed. And to that point I brought up earlier, a lot of people in these communities in Chicago, they have been dealing with these community centers and these vacant buildings, and they have been getting on their local officials like, hey, let's turn these buildings into something, let's make them something that our community can use, our tax dollars, these are our buildings, let's do something to uplift our community. And what happened to those buildings? A lot of them got turned into migrant shelters, and they feel that they have been stabbed in the back from their officials. And this is what people like MSNBC and a lot of these mainstream media outlets don't understand. They haven't been covering this. All they've been covering are Democratic talking points. And what happens is when you actually go to a Trump rally, when you actually talk to normal, regular people, you see what they care about. They care about open borders. They care about inflation and gas prices and economy, the things that affect their lives. And I want to go back to Robert De Niro. This is what and this is that anger towards that sort of out of touch elitism, having someone like Robert De Niro come in and lecture and say why you shouldn't vote for Trump. Because those people, think about those people at the Bronx rally. Those people have watched their 401ks go down. They've watched their neighborhoods be overrun by illegal immigrants. They've watched they can't afford to fill up their gas tanks. It hurts every time you go to the grocery store, and then you're being lectured that everything is fine. And then some Hollywood celebrity is going to be like, you need to listen to me, otherwise you're stupid. How do you think people are going to take that? I think that it would do anyone some good, even if you're someone that's saying, like, my mind is not going to be changed. If there's a Trump rally in your town or in your area, just walk by it. Drive by it. You don't have to go, but just look at the people that are there. Talk to the people that are there. Is this caricature that has been created in your mind of Trump supporters, is that true with what you're seeing with your own eyes? I've been to a Trump rally. I've met a bunch of the supporters. They're huge love fests. They're just big love fests. That's what they are. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that video, and I will say kudos to that reporter for actually going out there. I do respect her for being honest and being open and going out there and interviewing. I wish and I hope that more of her colleagues will do that. So I really do appreciate her going and doing that and showing us the truth and actually interviewing people and going there instead of sitting back and judging what you think might have happened. So thank you for that. Anyway, have a good day. Bye.